Hi, so with the release of Multiverse of Madness, I thought it would be kind of fun to read some of the books that were recommended by Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda in the movie. Scarlet Witch is like one of my favorite characters in the MCU, so of course I just have to make this video. And I also previously did one where I read books that were recommended by Andrew Garfield when Spider-Man No Way Home first came out, and I really enjoyed all the books that he recommends. Anyway, so I went and did a little bit of research and read a bunch of articles, and I chose 3 books that were either mentioned or referenced by Elizabeth Olsen, and then I read them. The first book that I picked up was The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway, and I think she also mentions that this is one of her favorite books. This is actually my second book that I've read by Hemingway, and I really enjoyed the writing style. I just love the simple prose that it has, but it's also really beautifully written. Although the characters were not necessarily my favorite, like I don't hate them, I just have mixed feelings about them, but they were definitely interesting to read about. If you're planning to pick this book up, it's actually quite short. It's only 220 pages plus long, so you can probably finish this in one sitting if you want, and I'm really glad that I read this. Okay, moving on. The next one that I picked up was All the Light We Cannot See, and this is definitely the most sad book in this list, and I loved it. This is a historical fiction book, and we follow the lives of 2 main characters throughout the story in France. I was kind of hesitant when I first read this because I don't really pick up a lot of historical fiction novels, and sometimes they tend to be really boring. But this was definitely not the case for this book. I mean, it was still slow at some parts, but I never found the story to be boring. Plus, I think the writing in this is just so beautiful. It's almost like poetry, except that it's prose. So yeah, even though the book did drag on a bit, the beautiful writing style definitely made up for it. Also, this book may or may not destroy you emotionally, so you gotta be prepared for it. Okay, we're on to the last one. The last book that I read was Circe by Madeline Miller, and this is perhaps my most favorite book out of everything here. Madeline Miller, if you don't know, also wrote the Song of Achilles, and this is one of my favorite books ever, so of course I just have really high expectations going into Circe, and it did not disappoint. I've been meaning to read this book since forever, and when I saw that Elizabeth Olsen also recommended this book, I'm like, okay, this is my chance to actually read this. Circe is a Greek mythology retelling of the story of, well, Circe, and the book is just so good. I don't know why, but I just love Greek mythology retelling so much. I guess you can blame Percy Jackson for that, but anyway, I thought Circe as the main character was just done so well, and you really sympathize with her as the story progresses. I still don't know which one I like better, the Song of Achilles or Circe, but at this current moment, I'm leaning towards Circe, but read them both anyway because they're equally as good. Alright, I think that was it. Those are all the books that I've read that Elizabeth Olsen has recommended, and I really enjoyed them.